Mold is a decomposer. We are living. Being living and being having a heavy colony of mold in our home or us is incompatible with life. We don't want to be decomposed. It's very tough on the immune system. And the mycotoxins, as the name sounds, are toxins.
What evidence do you know exists out there that mycotoxins are a real thing and it's not just spending their money on supplements, which is what some MDs and DOs think this whole mold thing is?
So I see a lot of mold and mycotoxin illness in my patients as well. It will drive a lot of skin problems and exacerbate a lot of conditions like psoriasis. It's an attack on the immune system. So there's not a ton of research with mold and mycotoxins on humans, and part of that is ethical because we can't feed humans moldy mycotoxin-laden food and then test them because that is unethical. It will make them sick. So a lot of the first information that we got and a lot of the findings are based on animals because farmers would suddenly have like an entire flock of chickens die or a whole herd of goats or cows die. And of course, that's devastating to their business. Why did my whole herd of cows just die? And then they would go in and test the cows and test the feed and find, oh, this feed was moldy and the feed was high in mycotoxins. Mold is a fungal organism. So mold is the thing that grows. We all know it. You left the raspberries in the fridge for too long and there's green fuzz, we throw it away. That's mold. You leave the bread out on the counter too long, fuzzy, that's the mold, the fungal organism. Mycotoxins means fungal toxins. These are toxins produced by mold when molds are trying to defend themselves against other molds or bacteria. So it's how mold fights. We use this. So the very first antibiotic that we ever discovered was penicillin, named in honor of Penicillium mold, which produced it. So, we know mycotoxins are real. We have penicillin, and there's also a drug called mycophenolic acid. That's a pharmaceutical drug that's derived from, it's a mycotoxin, and mycophenolic acid is an immune suppressant. Now you might think, why would we want to suppress somebody's immune system? But an example would be if somebody has an organ transplant, we have to suppress their immune system after that surgery so that they don't reject the organ. So mycotoxins are real. There's no debate. It's part of pharmaceuticals even. But yes, the study of mold and mycotoxins on humans is limited because of the damage. But we have the data from animals, large die-offs of even dogs, dog food that's been contaminated and then sold through pet stores. And it's real. And now, even within the court system, stuff like black mold. And when I say black mold, I don't just mean mold that looks black because mold can look black. What I mean is the Stachybotrys species of mold is very, very toxic. And there are lawsuits within the US judicial system where landlords or others didn't properly remediate or inform people, and people got very, very, very ill or died, and they're allowed to sue for that. Right now, all that I know is Stachybotrys, but I think the research and the area of mold and mycotoxins is developing, and we will get more data as things come out. But again, it's in our pharmaceuticals. It's in the data with animals. We can't ethically test on humans, but we know it's there, and we know as functional medicine practitioners from having our patients' homes tested for mold and mycotoxins that it's found in heavy numbers, and then once it's remediated and cleaned up, we see patients get better. And this is a big issue for my alopecia areata patients. I would say almost 100% of them, they have the gut problems that I need to fix, but they also tend to be living in mold and mycotoxins. And once we start to get them out or clean up the home, then we see the hair come back, and it just happens time and time again. Mold is a decomposer. We are living. Being living and having a heavy colony of mold in our home or us is incompatible with life. We don't want to be decomposed. It's very tough on the immune system. And the mycotoxins, as the name sounds, are toxins and immunosuppressants, and a lot worse than that. So it's one of those areas that hopefully we'll see more research go into, but the evidence is there, and we know that patients are in danger and not getting better because of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like I said earlier, I feel very passionate about making sure that the knowledge of mycotoxins, the science is moved forward so that it can become mainstream. I really think it's going to become mainstream probably in 20, 30 years. And that's just way too long because we have more and more people living in water damaged buildings who are getting sicker and sicker. And we need to move the science forward.